Hello everybody, I am Elagatua, and today in this video we are going to be doing something that I have not done in the past. This is a little bit of an experiment. I'm going to be looking at a replay from the Smacky Cup Division 1 semifinals on a replay that I've never seen before, on a map that I've never seen before, and we're going to try and do a map breakdown and some analysis, and we're going to follow one of the players' vision with fog, and I'm going to comment on what I think is good and what I think I might have done differently for this player. But I'm going into this totally blind, so I may end up making some mistakes in my analysis, and the fun will be to see how well my blind analysis matches up with the actual replay once we get it going. This is a skill that I've been trying to develop in myself by playing some more live queue, because I realized that one of the weaknesses that I had was I was very good at playing a map, especially the second or third time, but oftentimes the first time I played on the map, I didn't really properly understand how it would play out. And when you start to play in tournaments, generally you're playing every map for the first time, with some exceptions. But so I think in the future, if I want to do better in tournaments, this is a skill that I need to develop in myself. So with that being said, I'm going to be testing myself in this video, but let's have a look at this map, because there is a lot going on in this map, and it can seem quite overwhelming at first. And when I looked at this map about 2 minutes ago is when I started, I was pretty overwhelmed by it. So let's just try and break it down and see if we can understand the most important features of this map. So let's look at our factory, or our bases first. So we have this base here, and we've got this base here. And importantly, we've got mountains here and mountains here. And so this means that all the vehicles that come from this base are going to have to go up. And their path to the center of the map is actually probably like this way. Okay, so they've got to go and do a full loop around. And then this base is going to provide access to the third base, which is back here. And actually, if you're looking at the reinforced routes, once this base is captured, this base has a faster path to the center than this base, even though this one is I guess positioned closer to the center, but it's not actually your center base. So what this means for how the game is likely to play out is this is almost certainly going to be your infantry base, and this is going to be your vehicles base. And then on the other side here, our weak side, we have a little bit of a faster access to the center. It's just this way. So we have to still go around some mountains, but we have to go through 2 forest tiles in order to get to the center. So even the other side, the reinforced routes are very, very slow on this map. But they're actually faster for infantry, which is an interesting quirk. I'm not going to get into the CO picks yet, but I know you're probably thinking, based on what I've said already, that, wow, this would be a really good Sammy map. Why did our players go with Cole? And the answer is Sammy is banned. So this is a tier 4 CO pool, and Sammy's banned. So we'll kind of loop back around to the CO pick later on. But I agree that if you're thinking about Sammy, you probably have the right idea, but not an option this time. So let's see what else we can see about this. So we've kind of got our reinforced routes planned out. We've got an airport up here, and then there's an airport over here, but it is locked by the coast here. And so there's no direct route for infantry to get over to this airport and this comm tower. And so there's only going to be 2 ways to actually get across here. One is going to be to build a black boat, or I guess technically a lander, although that seems pretty unlikely. So you could build a black boat or a lander from this port, or you could build a T-copter from this airport and then shuttle it all the way across the map horizontally to gain access to that second airport and the comm tower. That's going to be an interesting thing to see how our players address that challenge. And finally, the comm towers. So one nice thing about this map, these comm towers are not contestable at all. So there's not going to be like any victory through stealing the other player's comm tower. They're just too far back and not in contestable positions at all. So the majority of this game, once we get into the mid game, is going to be played with 2 towers, I imagine, for both players, and those won't be a major point of contention between the 2 players. So, okay, so that's kind of the very high level thing. Now, the next thing I think that is important to do is to figure out where the contested properties are going to be on this map. So this side eventually is going to be our strong side as we come down, because we have 2 factories against the 1 here. And then we're going to have this factory pumping infantry and this factory probably pumping vehicles. So eventually, probably this line is kind of around where the properties will begin to get contested. Especially here, I think probably is going to end up belonging to blue. These might end up being contested. This is too far back. And I think this might be too far back because of the airport. So it may genuinely just be these 4 properties here. And I really don't think these middle properties are going to end up that contested. Yeah, I really think it's just all about these 4 properties. That's my story, and that's what I'm sticking to for right now. We'll see what happens in practice. What may end up happening is that the strong side, weak side dynamics might be strong enough where these 2 factories can kind of get control over this whole middle area. But it depends on how many air units the opponent wants to allocate to their weak side, because the reinforced for air is still very fast to this area, and it's about 2 turns to this area as well. So air units seem very strong in this map, given the really long vehicle reinforce. And additionally, this could be a very good mech map in some situations because of the mountains, and the reinforce for mechs ends up being very short. So that might be something that gets mixed in. And I think now that we've kind of identified the contested properties, we can start to think about the CO picks. So both of our players have picked coal, and I think this makes a lot of sense given what we've talked about with how this map might play out before we've even built a unit. We've discussed that mechs might be better than usual, and so one downside of Jess and Jake is that when they get their CO powers, their infantry are not going to get the benefit of the additional movement. And additionally, for the we've talked about the positioning of the airports and how they seem like, especially this one, is going to be very relevant on the weak side here, because the reinforce to the center is very quick compared with going and sending vehicles through all these trees and around these mountains up here. So for Cole and for Adder, they are going to benefit, their air units are going to benefit from increased movement if the CO power goes off. So already the dynamics of this map seem to favor Adder and Cole, and I think you could really go either way between the two of them. But I think coal makes a lot of sense here because in the areas where there's going to be fighting, which is going to be like right in here and right in here, there's just a ton of roads everywhere. And getting that that road bonus, especially for copters, to be able to like one-shot infantry, is very realistic on this map. This is something you also can see sometimes on Issus V2, where that road bonus during the CO power will let the copters one-shot an infantry. And sometimes that can be really important for wall breaks and things like that. So the CO meter will charge a little slower for coal versus adder, but I think the coal pick makes a lot of sense. Okay, I think that's enough about the map. And just to summarize the highlights here, so the things that we're going to be looking out for is how are we going to be getting over to here to get our other airport and our comm tower, and how soon we try to go for that. And then also the strong side, weak side dynamics. So how much income do we dedicate to this airport to try and stop our weak side from getting overrun, and how hard do we push on the strong side? Because there's enough deployed units between the bases and the airports where we have a lot of leeway to allocate units wherever we feel like they're needed. And so there's going to be a lot of balancing between the fronts and difficult decisions about where do I need my money to go and which fronts am I going to favor. Okay, with that, let's get started. We're going to be following along with Lylian, and I do know that Lylian ends up winning, so I apologize if that spoils it for you, but I feel like maybe it's not totally fair to follow the winning player, but that's how I'm going to do it with this experiment. And we're just going to see how this goes. So obviously, the first turn, we just make infantry, so that's not super shocking. And so I think now we need to send this infantry up to get to the base. I don't think we need to do any funny business with a first. I mean, this chain is pretty juicy, to be honest. But I think that... yeah, I think we can wait on that until next turn. So I'd just keep it simple and start heading for the factory. And then for this infantry, so we've got some options here of 1 turn caps. I think I prefer sending him up this way because I want to get this airport really quickly. One of the things that I think is a good rule of thumb when you have a map where T-copters seem to be pretty good, and this is one of those maps, if you're going to get a T-copter, you might as well get it pretty early so that you have the most turns to get the benefit out of the shuttling. And also, we're going to need a lot of turns to get it over to the other side, because that's my preferred play would be to just send the T-copter over, and we can kind of work some infantry kind of into the middle along the way, and maybe kind of do like a little loop over there, and maybe do some boosting and things like that, rather than a black boat. I just think the T-copter has more longevity than the black boat in this case, because if you build a black boat here, like the best that you're really doing is you're able to shuttle infantry from here to here really quickly, but I just feel like the T-copter has more value. So let's see what Lylian does. Okay, so Lylian with a brilliant move of exactly what I asked. I don't know anything about Lylian, so I'm just gonna call them by their name, or I will try. And obviously, more infantry. Okay, and so now, obviously, we keep moving up there and chain to here and here. So still standard stuff. Okay. Yeah, no need for an early recon here. So, this map does seem like it really discourages early vehicle harass because the reinforces are so slow. Knowing this, you can actually try to be a little bit more greedy and delay your kind of defensive plan, expecting that you're probably going to be safe because there's so many cities to cap, and the vehicle reinforce paths are so slow that you can probably get away with delaying your vehicles and going for a more econ-focused approach. So that's what I would be thinking right now. Okay. So now, obviously, we're going to start this cap. Where is this infantry going to go? Probably... Where's another chain that we can do? We kind of want to do this with this infantry. I mean, you could send them up here to go over here, but I'd rather have the early infantry from this base kind of head this way and take care of these back properties. So maybe I go over here and towards this city, but we'll see. I think there multiple options are fine there. And then this infantry is gonna head towards that way, if I have my way. Okay, sure. I actually like putting it on the mountains is cute because you can choose to either go here or here. Doesn't really matter how you do it, but yeah, okay, we're good. I still think just getting infantry for now is fine. You don't need to try and do anything with mechs or recons, but that's what I would do. Yep, and more infantry. Okay, so we've managed to follow Lylian's deploys and moves, I think, perfectly so far. So that probably won't last for much longer, but so far so good. All right. So I'm not going to analyze, I think, the cap chains much longer. It's getting kind of boring. But I will talk about deploys because I think that's the most important thing. So let's get our movement out of the way, and then we'll talk deploys at the end of the turn. I'll be honest, I might have sent this guy up down here and saved this for later. Interesting, going here instead of here. I don't really think this is a contested tile, but maybe just wanting to go like here into here faster. I think this is totally fine. Oops. Okay, so that's all of our moves. What are we? So we got 11K this turn. We're not going to have the airport forever, so in the next turn we're going to be able to start deploying from our other factory as well. I think it. So we don't really want to do a vehicle here, because if we want to do a vehicle here, we might as well just build a vehicle here next turn. And it's going to get to the front at about the same time. So I think this is definitely an infantry. You could even maybe do a mech here, but I think actually just an infantry is fine. And on this side, this could be recon time, honestly. I think getting a recon out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it? The recon reinforce here is pretty obnoxious. What's the difference? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically, I'm trying to see how fast we can get vision of these center properties. Because if we want to recon on this side, we basically want to just get vision of this really quickly. And actually, I think a recon on this side is good this turn. Because we can send it, we're not going to send it, oops, we're not going to send it this way. We send it this way, and we use it to make sure that we keep an eye on these properties so that, you know, like none of these infantry is like sneak down here early from our opponent. But then we also try to make sure to lock down this property, because this area here is really far away from our opponent's deploy here. And so a recon here is going to be really safe. There's no way that a mech is going to sneak up and hit us, right? There's no forest anywhere around here. So in the worst case, we can deny like this city and slow down the cat phase here and just play cat and mouse. So yeah, I'm going to go, I'm deploying a recon here and infantry here if I'm playing. Okay, so this is our first main divergence here. This is a tank over here. I don't love this. Yeah, I don't love this. I think that if you're going to build a tank, I think it's better to just wait until next turn on that. That's just my opinion, because then you get another infantry pushing out in the middle to do caps. And this tank is going to take forever to get out here. So like we said that having a recon here is good. So maybe Lylian is expecting a recon to be here, and maybe he wants to loop it around this way, but it's so slow. Like, how many turns is this? He's got to go through 3 forests to get to this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 3 moves away. I think if we're worried about harass here, I almost think it's better to just have our own recon get to the center, just to let us know that it's coming. Anyway, we'll see how this plays out. Okay, so we didn't see anything. Not that we would expect to. So again, I'm not going to really focus too much on the caps, just for brevity's sake. Okay, so the tank is coming around this way, which is fine. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if we bought it here, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's like if we had saved a turn to buy this tank, we would only be like 3 moves behind where it's going to be now. So anyway. And interesting that the infantry moved here to get the port rather than here. I guess it's fine either way. I might have done that differently and saved this for my first infantry from this base, which would be a little bit delayed. Okay, oops. No. So anyway, we have 8K to be like, what did I do? I just I have no idea what I just did. Forget that ever happened. We'll cut it out in post, right? We won't though. Okay. Did we deploy that infantry at the beginning of the turn? Oh yeah, no wonder I got so confused. So we all right. So Lylian deployed the infantry from that top base really early. So anyway, why don't I talk about deploys right now? So now we've got 10K. So yeah, I do think, like, now that we've opened tank here, this should be a tank, tank infantry. So I think what we ended up doing, or what Lylian ended up doing, is fine. Given the first tank, get a second tank, no problem. Okay, so we still haven't seen anything. So I think we're going to continue caps. So now it's starting to be interesting because now we have some decisions to make with these infantry. We don't have anything within one range, but like this infantry could potentially go here into these woods, or could potentially come out here to try and take the center. And likewise, this has to decide between here and here. And that's kind of why having a recon that could start to move into this area would be pretty nice, because you start to get some vision here, and it lets you know whether this area is safe, because this area is really likely to be contested, because we can just see on the other side, like this infantry is likely going to go down here. So I think, I mean, we're obligated to try and split here and leave these two cities for my opponent. I just have no good way to get vision. We could like move him down here and then try to interrupt from the other city, which would be kind of a blind interrupt, which would be a little spooky. Or no, actually, no, we couldn't do that because it's the outside city, so it's this one that would be getting capped. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going here and here. That's what I'm doing. I'm a little surprised that these infantry are going back. I kind of expected more infantry to get sent to the middle to try and lock this down, but oh. Oh wow. All right, so already we see some shenanigans here. So this is weird. So what this means is that our opponent rushed to this city and skipped some properties along the way to get here early. There's like that infantry finished capping that city last turn, which means that was like day 5, right? Or sorry, it finished capping it on day 6, which means it started capping it on day 5, which means it was here on day 4, and it was here on day 3, and it was here on day 2. So if I'm understanding this correctly, my Swagmaster sent the first infantry down here to this factory, and this is literally the second turn infantry. Went straight to this city, bypassing this this cap here. So this is really aggressive by Swagmaster. It's going to be nice that Swagmaster can kind of interrupt now this cap from a city that Swagmaster already has. So that's kind of a cool concept. But this is going to be, I think, very challenging for Swagmaster to hold on to, unless Swagmaster commits almost all the funds to this side. So, and not only they're taking an income hit to do this, so we'll see how that plays out. We've kind of committed to this cap now, so there's nothing really to be done about it, and obviously we're gonna be moving the tank down. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. This is going to be like a 0 tower infantry interrupting this infantry. I don't even know how much damage that does. Is it just like 4 or maybe even 3? It could be like a 7-7 trade. Kind of amusing. Anyway, so let's talk about deploys now. So we got 11k again. The fact that we don't have any recons. I mean, there's so many mountains that we might be able to get away with it for a little longer. Next term, we're going to start to have our airports online. I'm thinking about maybe like a mech. Like what if we do mech here? Mech, tank, infantry. That's what I'm thinking. Because mech gives us a way to fight with vehicles. It's going to be a fast reinforced vehicle for this tank. Because now we have something to contest. We want to brawl around the city, right? Like we can fight here. It's a pretty good place to fight, and Swagmaster is going to be obligated to defend this. So getting a mech now is going to protect this tank from potentially Swagmaster's tank, and let us use this tank more aggressively without having to worry about counterattacks. And then also if we take control of the area, like mechs and infantry, mechs can cap. It's not really their primary goal, but oftentimes on a strong side, weak side setup where the bases are really far apart. We've seen this on Tornado Road, where your weak side infantry end up being very valuable because that one base is the base that you want to be producing vehicles from, and so you end up not being able to produce infantry on that side. So this kind of, if you do a mech now, that kind of helps solve both problems at once. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking mech, tank, infantry. Let's see what Lylian ends up going for. Okay, so just tank, infantry. If you're going to do tank, infantry, then this is definitely the side to build the tank on. It is a little bit scary though, because if you're being forced to do a ton of vehicles on this side, oops, and jump scare. You start fighting with these vehicles. If Swagmaster also builds all vehicles from this side, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to be fighting like equal vehicles kind of butting heads against each other, but this infantry base is going to slowly overwhelm your infantry on this side. But I think the ordering here from Lylian is good. Doing this infantry first probably changed the plan over here. Now that you see that this infantry is here, you probably want to be more aggressive here, because you would expect that with an early cap of this, the vehicles are coming from this side, so they're probably not coming from this side. Which means that this tank is going to be dominant and maybe let us take both of these cities. Okay. So we don't see anything other than the interrupt here. So we have some options here. I mean, it seems very likely that this is some kind of trap, right? Like, we send the tank in here, and then we kill the infantry, and then it gets counterattacked by a tank. That seems very plausible. I don't know if it's possible for like an artillery to be out here, but obviously we're flying pretty blind. So one very passive option would be to we could send this infantry over to get vision. We could send this infantry back to heal, and then we could send this tank onto the city to kill this infantry. I don't know if that's actually a kill or not. I don't have a move planner up. I don't know if a zero tower tank will one shot a 7 HP infantry on a city. Seems kind of dicey, but if I want to attack with the tank, I want to attack from the city, just because there could be anything here. There could be anything here, and so if we put the tank here, And it's kind of unlikely that there's 2 tanks waiting for us, but like there could be a mech here, right? Like this mech would be like two moves away. So you have a mech covering this infantry, then it's going to feel really horrible. So that's something to keep in mind. So I do think you're probably obligated to attack this infantry, but I think you should retreat this infantry. Okay, so that's kind of that side. And then on this side here, I mean, we see nothing here. We have a bazillion infantry. I mean, I think you just got to go for it and take both of these cities. I mean, that's what you've been in position to do. I mean, alternatively, you can do this. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So we can't get this tank all the way onto these cities. We could get the tank in the trees here, which would be interesting. But I think you stick the tank here on this city, and you just cap these 2, and you see what happens. Because again, it's going to be 0 tower for a few more turns. Okay, so then deploys. What do we got? We've got 16k. Really want a T-copter this turn. Really want a T-copter this turn. So that's going to leave us with 11k for 3 bases. We really need a recon desperately. I probably am going artillery, recon, infantry here. The question is, what side do I put the recon on? I think the artillery needs to go on this side, and so recon here, infantry here. I think that's what I'm locking in. Let's see if anything along the way changes our mind. Oof. So yeah, so it doesn't kill, but it's very low, and we see that there's no mech here. Honestly, I feel like that's a missed opportunity. Like, if you're a Swagmaster, how sick would that be to set up the opening where you just deploy a mech here to have ready for this situation? Like, I'm kind of bummed that it's not there. I mean, maybe there could be a mech here, but it seems unlikely. I guess it's just going to be a tank that comes in from the city and hits the... Well, we'll see what happens, but if there's nothing covering this infantry, then I hate the idea of capping this in the first place. Like, if you're gonna commit to that, like, commit to it. Okay, and we just pop the infantry. Okay, so that's fine. And that makes the counterattack on this tank more difficult, because now there's got to be an infantry that comes here, or some sort of vehicle that comes here, to give vision of this tank in order to counterattack it. So, yeah. And this mountain tile only sees to the city. So, kind of a bummer. Interesting. So now we're kind of chickening out and we're going here. I don't know. I think I would have gone for this. Like, if we got the tank this aggressive on this side, we kind of like, it's like we need to find out like what our opponent's plan is. We haven't seen anything so far. We kind of need to run into the trap somehow, and force the opponent to kind of reveal what their plan is. And if we if we have to end up losing an infantry and retreating to kind of get some information about what's out there, then I think we live with that. Anti-air. Okay. So that's fine. So that also makes sense. So yeah, I think that's actually a good, that's pretty clever. So that might even be better than what my original plan was. So I do think T-Copter anti-air double infantry is also a very good deploy. I think it could work either way because Lylian knows that Swagmaster is going to have this airport ready to deploy. And so if Swagmaster finds themselves under pressure on this side, well, there's likely to be copters. So building the anti-air on this side to get down here as quick as possible makes a lot of sense. Okay, so no T-Copter. So we're building all vehicles on this side. I don't hate it. Getting the infantry deploy here is nice because we are so infantry starved on this side already. And if this infantry gets interrupted, like it's rough. It's real rough. Like we've got nothing here, infantry wise. So I do like that aspect of it. But I think in retrospect, the optimal move is T-Copter, anti-air, double infantry. You get the best of everything, and then you start getting things going towards this direction, which you'll want to do that eventually. All right, let's see what happens here. This should be pretty interesting. Okay, so the infantry comes in for vision. Yep, and the tank's there. Okay, so that's, like we said, it smelled like a trap, and it was. So this is totally fine. It would have been so sick with the mech though. Like I'm kind of bummed about that, but anyway. So the tank comes in, and now that tank is on the friendly city. So this is, I mean, Lylian honestly got baited. There's no way around it. Like it was, oof. That's rough though. So no vision, and gets this infantry trapped here. Yeah, this is why I suggested building a recon from this base pretty early on. You just get like one recon. It's really fast to the center, and you can see what's going on here, so you don't have to take risks like that. So, just saying. Are we going to see anything else? Sorry, I'm nervously watching the baby monitor to see if my recording is going to get interrupted. It looks like we're safe for now. Sleep well, Ela Jr. Okay. Anyway, distraction over. So looks like we made it through the rest of that turn. So actually, this is good. This is bad, but this is great. So we're gonna get like one of these contested cities. I'm really surprised that Blue was able to get this city. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked that didn't get interrupted. But hey, so good for Blue. And looks like we're kind of conceding these. We have the ability to contest this if we want. We've seen one tank over here, but there's a lot of stuff that's kind of unaccounted for. And we only did see one tank. I don't really know if we could have seen much more than that, seeing as we only have one tank on this side. So let's see what the plan is. I mean, I don't think we can really fight here. And, I mean, capping this city seems like a long shot as well. I'm going to be really sad if we don't ever see any mechs. Like, it's such a good place to just have, like, surprise mechs. It would be so good. I guess the question is, can we tank chain into this? Like, it's It's real scary to try and fight into this. It's real scary. Like, I mean, I guess you can, if you're going to do it, you got to retreat the infantry. Which I would have done last time. But yeah, so like I said, like if you're going to fight this tank here, it needs to be from the city, because that would have made this trade like a lot less bad. Anyway, less talking about how I was so right last turn. More talking about what I'm going to do now that we've got this dilemma. I think... So this would be like where I see how much damage we can actually do to this tank on the city. I mean, I think the proper play is just to retreat. Send this tank here. Or actually, even ugh, it's gross. So we have nowhere good to send this tank if we don't attack, right? Because you go here, and then there's like a recon down here that shows up. Then this tank just gets picked off on the city, which is even worse. But then you want to leave this city open to retreat this infantry too. So we got like a lot of crappy options. Well, anyway, I would think more about how I want to retreat this, maybe to here, something like that. But I think on this side we've got it back, and then this side, I think we can try to bully this if we can get a tank on a city. But we've got no easy way to get vision, so it's not wonderful. Okay, oh, we're going in. All right. So, all right, 9 to 4. So that's more damage than I thought it was going to do. So I'm fine with this, actually. I don't have my damage calculator up, so I didn't really know. I don't have all this damage stuff memorized. Okay, like I know some of the more experienced players have this stuff. Like they just know. But I'm a little bit simple. Let the calculator do its thing, and I know 2 tower infantry can. 2 tower 2 infantry can deny a city. 2 tower 2 tank can deny a tank on a city. Like it's about the limit of my knowledge. All right. But anyway, so yeah, so seeing this, like, yeah, this is fine to just to slam into the tank like this. Get it down to 1. Yeah, that's fine. Interesting. It looks like maybe this tank is going to be front shifting over here. So I think, all right, so the idea here is probably this tank is going to defend this infantry, because this infantry is like super likely to get popped. Like really, really likely. And so I think the idea is once this inevitably gets popped, this tank can come around, and especially if there's like a recon, like that's the perfect thing to hit it. Or even if there's another tank, like you have the potential to get a tank shot on a tank that comes here. Assuming you can get vision, that's a little scary. Like one recon would simplify a lot of this stuff, but it's really just been a brawl so far. Let's see what happens to us. Okay, so it looks like that infantry moved into the woods. That infantry retreated. That tank backed. I am really confused. Where is Swagmaster's stuff? Okay. Where's the stuff? That's what I don't understand. We've seen 1 tank and 1 infantry so far. Which means that there have to be a bunch of other vehicles around. But if there's a bunch of other vehicles around, then like why haven't we seen any caps on these center cities? Because if there's no more vehicles up on this side, then Swagmaster should be strong here. And if Swagmaster is strong here, then Swagmaster should be going for these contested properties. But we've seen nothing. So I'm confused. So, I mean, at this point, I don't even want to touch these properties. Like, there's too much missing. Sending an infantry here just seems like it's sending an infantry to die, for sure. So I don't want to send this infantry down. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna park here. And like, we got this row, like, that's great. I'm gonna front shift over here with this tank. And I'm just gonna focus on getting all these cities for like the next turn or two. And make sure I get these. And we'll think about denying this. That's all right. That's the game plan. Let's see what actually happens. Wow, we're at 23K, so we're starting to have some pretty serious income. I think at this point, we haven't built a T-copter. It's getting pretty late. I think now that we haven't done it yet, we need to do Black Boat. That's the answer at this point. Because we got enough income where we can probably get away with it, and we just had a good tank engagement, so that's helpful. Ooh, I don't like this. I don't like this. Is asking to die. I mean, I guess it could be baiting a copter. But I don't love it. I mean, I guess we are covered by the tank and the anti-air. That's not horrible, but I just don't know where Swagmaster's stuff is, and that's what's confusing me. There's got to be a bunch of vehicles around somewhere. Wow, what? No. Why put him here? What do we need to see? That doesn't give us any extra vision at all. And it puts us further away from capping this city. Ugh. I don't like it. I don't like it. We want to cap both these cities next turn. Moving this up here prevents us from doing that. Unless we're like going to retreat this guy into the woods here. T-copter now? Oh, gosh. Now, I would have played this really different. Really different. Oh, boy. All right. We got an artillery. So I'm down with that. I like the artillery. It's a lot of woods over here. It's a good place for it. And a tank. Why? No. Why? Why move this over? This repair is not that important. This repair is very important. You want this guy to get repaired next turn so that you can cap both of these with full HP infantry. I mean, I guess maybe Lylian suspects that this side is the actual strong side. But if this side's the strong side, then why didn't we get wrecked last turn when we started tank chaining? That's what I don't understand. And there's still nothing here. Yeah. This game is... I'm so confused. Somebody build a recon, please. Where is Swagmaster's stuff? We need to know where Swagmaster's stuff is. And so I guess Lylian's plan is, I'm going to aggressively position here and maybe force some caps to bait out the stuff. So, okay, so I do like that we're consolidating around here. If we're not going to go to cap these, then consolidating here is fine. But I would have tried to go for these instead. I think so. So Lylian wants to make this the strong side, which is fine, and this the weak side. So that's a decision. I would have just flipped it. I would have made this kind of the strong side, and made this the weak side temporarily. Let's see what happens. So Swagmaster clearly still has no vision, because any sort of like vehicle or recon or copter in this area would have seen this infantry go into this forest. So that's not great. Do we see anything else? Nothing else. This is such a passive game. It's wild. It really is wild. Okay. Well, now what? I mean, it would be so nice under normal circumstances to be able to put this anti-air into this woods to pop the infantry. You can't really put the anti-air here to pop it. It's way too aggressive. I like the idea of sending this infantry down here and just trading out this infantry and putting the tank in the woods. It's a really good way to kind of safely force Swagmaster to show his strength, or Swagmaster's strength on this side. Okay, so we're just going in with infantry. That's also fine. So you're kind of abusing the woods. I don't know what these infantry are accomplishing. Like, what objective are they getting by advancing this far? They're like beyond the contested properties. So don't love that. Okay, so at least we are going to try and cap something. That's good. I just really like. I don't know. Okay, so we're really shifting over here. So this is fine. If this is the strong side, then make it the strong side, and that's what we're doing. So I do like that part. That is kind of a high level decision that's being correctly made here. A medium. Okay, so we're teching. And a recon. The recon is going to take forever to get out of there, though. But still, better late than never. We definitely do need a recon on that side. I guess we're just pumping infantry on the weak side, so yeah, I mean that's fine. We made our choice. Sometimes I probably would have done it the other way, but if you're going to make your choice of strong versus weak, this is a great way to do it. Look how far back Lylian is here. Lylian is just like, I'm not going to allocate anything to this side. I'm going to allocate everything to this side, and I'm going to have my stuff so far back on my weak side that even if you have all your stuff over here, you can't realistically attack in. Part of this, though, is also Swagmaster's mistakes, because Swagmaster needs to know that Swagmaster is strong on this side and take control of this area. This is your area. So this is going to be Lylian's area. This is going to be Swagmaster's area. So Swagmaster needs to know and get it. So yeah, so you see this infantry is back now on this city. But it could have been full HP last turn. And it's not a big deal. I'll let it go. Alright, so what happens to us now? Now we should be seeing some combat. Ooh, wow. So that weak tank was back repairing, and now it is back up here at 7 HP. Which is very bold to have it up there with no vision. But okay. It's kind of begging to be killed. Hopefully that's the intent. Because Swagmaster might get their wish. What else happens? Alright, so we see our first mech. So on the weak side though. It's here. Ugh, don't love that. Don't love that. So that mech is now really exposed. We'll see how the turn ends up. But so we know that mech's there, and we know that the mech is out there. This game is a little bit infuriating, honestly. Okay. Now what? I mean, this is the turn where you want your recon to be here. So you send the recon in to hit the mech from like here. And then you finished off with the infantry here. And then you see everything. And then you decide what to do after that. Because even if your recon dies, it still is taking a mech with it. So it's not horrible. And you get to see whether you're risking anything by sending in the rest of your army to clear out these infantry. So the fact that we don't have this recon out here makes this turn much more difficult to decide what the right decision is. Because we could be attacking into a big trap here with like 3 copters and a tank and an artillery or something like that. Like an artillery here or something. Or we could be attacking into like the mirror of this, which is a whole lot of squat. So it'd be really good if we had a recon to be able to tell us like which situation it is, rather than trying to commit some really valuable units to figure it out. Boy, dilemmas. Yeah, our deploys have put us in a difficult spot here. I mean, my inclination is just to cap this city and like just continue to mass up units. Because I just think attacking is too risky in this situation, given kind of the deployed decisions that we've made. And so the safest thing to do is just to be like, okay, I'm gonna cap this city, and if you want to stop it, you need to show me what you've got. That's what I'd do. And then here, I mean, this is our weak side, so I think we need to play defensively here. I can't believe this city hasn't even attempted to be capped yet, though. That's pretty wild. Oh, okay, we're just going in. All right, don't see anything. Hope we're right about which side is strong and which side's weak, because we are going in, friends. Okay, so the copter was out of range of our anti-air. This is why it's talking about the recon. Really would have been nice to know if that copter was there. Maybe we use a different way to take out the mech. And then we save our anti-air back here. Because now this anti-air it's never going to get a copter kill unless Swagmaster like makes a mistake. Like it's kind of like hiding in artillery, but then the other person sees it. Like the best thing that can happen for you is nothing, because your opponent is only going to attack into this if they're actually strong enough. In poker, the analogous term would be like to raise in a hand where only hands that beat you would call. It's basically like you're putting yourself at risk, but the only way that you're going to get any reward, there's no way you can get a reward basically, because it's just going to like, in any situation where you're winning is just going to get you a fold basically. Anyway, so this is risky, but we're committed now. And there's another mech. So I don't like this idea of having a lot of mechs on the weak side. I like the mechs from this base. I don't like the mechs from this base. But I mean that mech is going to get a nice hit off probably. But this is like all of the vehicles. So it may get like one hit off, but if that's it, that might not be good enough. Okay, we're all totally going in. Okay, that was lucky. Little note here. I mentioned this in another video. If you're gonna clear off an infantry from a city, and one of the tiles gives you a +10 attack, and one of the tiles doesn't, you actually want to attack with the one that doesn't get the boost first. It increases your odds of killing the infantry by a non-trivial amount. I don't know the exact math, but I know it does matter. So Lylian got lucky here, but that's just a little minor room for improvement. I'm guessing that Lylian just assumes that this infantry is going to die anyway, so might as well have it be weak because it's going to die. But if you don't actually get the infantry kill, it kind of stinks, because then Swagmaster doesn't have to worry about vision for this. Yeah, okay, so this is sensible, because Lylian is correctly anticipating that this anti-air could totally die this turn. And so Lylian needs more anti-air, because otherwise, as soon as the copters, take out, if the anti-air dies, then there's nothing to deal with these copters, and the push is dead. So definitely got to have some more anti-airs. Okay, I like the artillery over here. And I like the decision-making overall over here. And the decision-making is specifically do nothing. That is the correct decision, I think, in this situation. And then this artillery further reinforces our defense. And we're just going to turtle up on the top side. So like that, that's great. Oh, yeah. Move even farther back. This is, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't love that, actually. I would rather this tank be here, because... Oh, actually, no, we can't move the artillery this turn. Just kidding. Disregard. Disregard. Wow, okay, yeah, we're really turtling up. Yeah, this is... Okay, so I've had some quibbles with how Lylian has gone about things, but love this. Love it. It's great. Fantastic. Good game sense. Big fan. Okay. So we didn't see a whole lot happen, but we just learned a ton about what is going on the map right now. the fact that that copter retreated tells us that we have the green light to send everything in. We're strong here. Swagmaster is weak here. We should consider trying to lock the airport. That's how nuts this can be. Like, you know, this whole side belongs to us, and so we need to be aggressive to take it. And we've correctly positioned here. We see the mech here, which we ought to ignore. Frankly, we should be ignoring that mech. Because yeah, you stick the artillery here, and what's Swagmaster gonna do? Like, there's no way that it doesn't matter how many units you have. Like, it's so hard to like get anything done. You know, have like these two tiles under control. Like, this city's never gonna get taken, and you're not gonna take any losses here. Like, we did a bunch of damage over here. We got a bunch of infantry kills. Yeah, we killed 6 units, and we've only lost 1. Whoops, I just bounced out of the game. That was not very smart, was it? I just, like, flip the colors. Sorry. Really professional commentary here. I apologize. Okay. No, fog active player. No, we don't want that. We want... Whew. All right, we almost spoiled ourselves. Can't have that. So... Anyway, long story short, despite some deploy quibbles, Lylian has set this side up really nicely and has the green light to go here. And so let's just go wild. This is a bit much. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. All right, I guess we're really going in. Wow. All right. I mean, I guess if we're going all the way, then let's go all the way. Sure, why not? The one thing I don't like about this is, like, if you're going to go all the way, like, you need to find a way to cap this property. All right, this may be a little bit controversial, but if you're going to go in this hard, it might even be worth moving this infantry down, abandoning the capture, and going for this one to apply even more pressure. Anyway, back to where we were. Okay, so yeah, we got a mech here. I like this. The idea here is just, we want to make it absolutely as punishing as possible to attack into this. As punishing, as slow, as grindy as possible to get anything. Because it's a game of tempo, right? So we need to take control of this side faster than Swagmaster takes control of this side. And then, when we feel like we've got enough damage, which is, by the way, probably when we get this comm tower, then we shift everything over and we defend the other side. And if we are, like, speed kills in this scenario, we're so overwhelmingly strong on this side and we're so weak on this side that it's kind of like a base race. So we need to get this, and then we shift over here to defend what's left of the base here, and stall this side out. And if we have more stuff by the time everything is done, then we pretty much won the game. And so now you see why this setup is so good. Mountain, high defense, woods, woods, mech that can go into the woods here. What can Swagmaster accomplish here? I mean, he probably will get this infantry, but then the counterattack next turn. I mean, it's not going to kill all the stuff here, but it's going to pick off at like 2 or 3 units, and then if this starts to get weakened down, you just drop the Neo tank here, and you flip it over, or you start pumping copters or whatever, or you get more artillery, right? But there's just no further way to like push in any deeper here. So Lylian set this up really nicely. Oof. Ooh. Ooh, that's rough. Okay, that I think is a mistake. I mean, I get it. The idea is to like weaken as many infantry as possible to slow down the caps, but I think this infantry needs to come here, and I'm pretty sure that would be a kill because that's a 0 defense shoal there. And then this guy needs to come here, that you still have vision of the tank, and then the mech needs to hit the tank. But I mean, it's a hopeless defense anyway, so I can't really fault it too much, but like it's kind of a lost cause. I mean, this mech is dead. It's just dead. It's on a 0 defense river, and it's going to die for free. And if you're going to build a mech to kill an infantry, you might as well have just built an infantry. Infantry would have done just as well and been cheaper. Okay. I'm beginning to see why Swagmaster is going to lose this game. So this is a lot of mechs. This is way more mechs than Lylian has. The problem is mechs are amazing at defense, but they're not amazing at offense. And the problem is that your defense side is your one base side, and so you don't really want to deploy mechs from this side. You want to deploy vehicles. And your 2 base side is your offense side. And so you don't really want to deploy mechs to attack. When I was talking about deploying a mech earlier on in the game, I was thinking like 1, and it was to defend a city. So the composition here for Swagmaster is really limiting, because this is a race. It's all about speed, and yet Swagmaster has all these slow units. So you're racing. You're going to race the slow units. So it's not a good composition for the strategy that we've seen here. And now, I mean, this stuff is just going to all get massacred. Yeah, and like, what has this copter done? This copter can't do anything. It's just, it has no support units, so the single anti-air means that it can't do it. It's a waste of money. Unfortunately, it can't get any value. Did that anti-air hit the? Yeah, I mean, I guess. Okay, he doesn't want to risk. He doesn't want to risk having the anti-air hit by the mech, and that's his only anti-air for like another turn. I probably would have. I'd have probably sent the anti-air in just to knock off that mech entirely, but whatever. It's fine. Wow, we got the base is locked. What a wacky game. All right. Whoa, what? All right, what are we buying? We just did a join on the tank. What are we buying? How much money did that get us? They got us like 4K? What do we need that for? See, that's the correct way to do it. You attack from the planes first and then the roads. That was a better roll there. Just to... Obviously, both of those infantry are going to die anyway, but that was the correct way to do it. And I like what we're doing here. Just trying to get as much value as possible. This stuff's going to die. It's just going to die. There's nothing we can do about it. It's dead. But we're just trying to delay and slow the caps as much as possible. And our base is locked by artillery, so it's not unthinkable that we could lose our base here. Now we got the mega tank. I see. So that's what the cap is for, right? So yeah, we just stick the mega tank there. We're never going to lose this base. I mean, it's nice play. Another nice thing that's happening here is these units are taking out Swagmaster's units on this side because this artillery is safe as long as this infantry is alive. Now, I'm pretty sure that, like, with this recon and this tank, you can still kill the infantry to be able to get at least a shot on this artillery, but it's just nice. It makes it uncomfortable. Oh, this is looking like superpower turns, so there's gonna be some fireworks in a second. Let's see what happens. Here comes the super. Okay, so we got an anti-air showing up. That's actually not that surprising. There's the Neo tank. So yeah, it's like, where has that Neo tank been the whole time? It's good, but now there's a mega tank there, so I mean, realistically, does that help? Okay. Well, I think if we're Lylian, we just sit on the base and eat units, right? I don't think we can make another. I mean, okay, so there's a counter mega tank down here. This game is wacky. This game is wacky. I would have played this game really differently. Interestingly enough, no power yet for Lylian, so hanging on to the right to counterattack here. Okay, so looks like we are going to be front shifting. So this is kind of what I talked about earlier, where we're going to race for this side, and it's almost exactly what I said earlier, right? Where we got this comm tower, and then we front shift everything over here to try and rescue the other side. And if we have more stuff alive by the time that we shift over, then we win. And already, like, this is pretty good positioning because now, like, these infantry are starting to threaten these properties. This is kind of weird angle of attack to come over this way, that these would be vulnerable properties, but here we are. It's a weird game. And Lylian hung on to the superpower. So now Swagmaster has to be under the threat of an extended move turn at any point. And so, yeah, Lylian got wrecked down here, but Swagmaster was forced to burn the Super CO power in order to clean everything up down here. And Lylian's defense and setup here was strong enough to basically force that out. So it's that preparation and understanding of what was going to happen ahead of time that now has given Lylian a pretty strong advantage in the tempo. It's the tempo that's really important here. Because, yeah, I mean, in terms of, like, damage and stuff like that, like, we're pretty close. So, did I do this again? I can't believe I've done this. All right. The exit button does not... Oh, man. Okay. Anyway, I keep pressing the escape button to get out of the unit stats. I've done it twice now. All right. So anyway, Lylian winning the tempo battle, winning the base race, more healthy infantry, and now making the correct decision to front shift. Ultimately, we got an income advantage because we have these two properties. We were able to deny this, so we're winning in income. And now we just need to switch sides, fight the army here, and just stall it out. And we should be in pretty good shape. This is, in my opinion, a mistake. Like, this infantry needs to be capping, and something else needs to come and kill that infantry. Although I guess, like, the tempo has been too slow, so this city is not actually in risk anymore. Swagmaster is not going to be able to get it with all these reinforcements flowing over here and here too. So again, speed kills in base races. All right, critically important now. Critically important. This is a really big mistake by Swagmaster. This infantry needs to take this comm tower. He needs to take this comm tower. The comm tower is more important than the airport. Because if the fight happens, there's a 2-turn window now for Lylian, where Lylian is going to have 3 comm towers to... actually, it's going to be 2 comm towers to 0, maybe? We don't know anything about these comm towers down here. And frankly, this is a mistake, too. This should be capping the comm tower first. I know it's additional income, but the additional 10% at this point in the game matters a whole lot more than 1k gold 2 turns sooner and an extra deploy tile. So that's a mistake. Just imagine if this infantry was here capping this and finishing the comm tower cap this turn, it could potentially be 3 comm towers to 0 for Lylian. And Lylian has the super CO power. So all Lylian needs to do is stick like a bunch of units here and then super CO power and just fight. And there's no way that Swagmaster can win. But now And the only reason this timing exists is because Swagmaster has capped this airport instead of the comm tower. So now we know, Lylian knows that there's a 2-turn window where any fight that Lylian takes is going to be really, really, really favorable because Lylian's going to have a substantial attack bonus advantage. And if this infantry was capping the comm tower, then it would only be a 1-turn window, and it would actually be over by the time that the attack is going to happen. So I'm assuming it's, again, I've not seen this replay, so I'm assuming there's going to be a big fight in about a turn. It kind of just seems where we're going. Yeah, so again, this is why having the CO power is so critical. Because Lylian can just set up here, which is a very safe position for Lylian. And Swagmaster has to make something happen. If Swagmaster doesn't fight this, then Lylian's just going to come in with the superior movement and the super CO power and just decimate everything with the comm tower advantage and the superior tempo. But if Swagmaster comes in here, then Swagmaster is fighting blind into who knows what. And look at how the army's positioned here. Medium tank in the forest. Medium tank on a city. Anti-air on a 3 defense. So it's like really, really good and anti-air in the forest, right? So like all the really critical units that Swagmaster wants to attack are in really unfavorable positions to attack. So like Lylian has done a tremendous job here of anticipating the attack and putting Swagmaster in a screwed if you do, screwed if you don't situation. Swagmaster is screwed if he doesn't attack because Lylian can chase Swagmaster down with the Super CO power next turn. And he's screwed if he doesn't attack because Lylian's going to have the comm tower advantage. But he's screwed if he doesn't attack because he's he's got to secure this side, right? And he's on the timer because the CO tower. So it's and really like it's the base race aspect, right? Like Lylian has this property and this property, so Swagmaster's got to secure this somehow. So that's kind of why Swagmaster needs to attack. Otherwise, it's gonna be bad. So let's see what happens here. Okay. This is a really bad mistake. Oops, I did it again. All right. Sorry. I need to fix that shortcut. Okay. We send. I can deal with that. That's kind of questionable, but I can deal with that. Now this recon should go in next. Now that you know that the city is safe. Honestly, I think the recon should just go first anyway. If you're thinking about attacking into this, recon's got to go first always. Because really what should happen is the recon goes in, sees 3 tanks and a medium tank on a city, and then Swagmaster's like, I can't fight this. I need to run away until next turn when I have this comm tower, and then we can take a better fight. So you might sack the recon, but you gain critical information that if you fight now, you're dead. Now, I mean, if you don't fight, you're kind of dead too, but you're like really, really dead if you fight. And already like Swagmaster is going to lose this artillery for nothing, because of a lack of vision. And I mean, obviously, it's gonna be really hard to see this anti-air anyway. But like, you kind of got to assume that it's out there. Like, it's really you don't want to be scouting with your full HP copters. It's not great. Anyway, let's see what happens here. I'm guessing it's going to be bad. Okay, well, this is kind of the worst of all worlds. Because now you've positioned all of your army, or at least a lot of your army, in a place where you can be reached very easily. And this is the turn to attack because this comm tower still isn't flipped. It would be so nice if this comm tower was capped, though. It's eating me up that it's not done that way. But anyway, so if I'm Lylian, it's go time for sure. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. This is our timing window, right? Like, we're punishing the mistake. Like, this comm tower should have been flipped already. It's not, so we get to attack with a huge bonus. Ow. Ow. Yeah. That was pretty brutal. Ouchies. So yeah, Lylian, I mean, Swagmaster screwed this up with that comm tower ordering thing. I mean, sometimes it's just the small things. When it comes to like a base race like this, like small decisions really add up. Yeah, I mean, sure, Swagmaster still has the Neo tank, but the Neo tank in what army? Well, let's see if the counterattack with the super can do anything. My guess is not much. Yeah, and so now the game is over. And the reason the game is over is because Lylian has broken the contain on this base. And so now everything here is really easily recappable. But this mega tank is stuck here. It can't move, which means that all these properties are just going to get eaten. There's no way that Swagmaster can ever break out of this. So even though Swagmaster got these properties a little slower, or even though Lylian got these properties a little slower than Swagmaster did, it doesn't matter because this base is effectively non-existent for Swagmaster, and now this base for Lylian is liberated and can start pumping out units to recap everything. So now even the fight doesn't even matter that much at this point. I mean, I think Lylian can just fight into the army anyway and just kind of take. But even trades is good enough at this point because it's the bases that are the important thing that are letting Lylian win. I mean, basically, Lylian is up a whole mega tank because this mega tank must sit here, and this mega tank can run around and kill stuff. It's really that simple. It looks like Lylian is just content to play defense, which is also totally fine because strategically it's a one game, so there's no need to risk like taking a bad fight and then losing board control. What I just mentioned about the bases means that it's already checkmate even without having to fight. Oof. No vision. And that's been a theme of this game. Like there's a real lack of recons made, frankly, from both players. So this is the final Hail Mary attack, and there's the resignation. Okay, so I would have played this map very differently. But it's kind of hard to say because the way I would have played this map would have led the game down a very different path. And so you kind of can't really critique it because it just would have been so different. I will say that Lylian's strategic decision making was really, really good. Although I think the initial decision to attack down here with no vision was like super risky, and I think that risk could have been avoided where had some decisions a few turns earlier been made a little differently. But that being said, in the end, I felt like the discipline on the weak side to just keep everything bottled up here ultimately forced out the CO power, which allowed Lylian to take a really good fight later. And with the timing window about Swagmaster's mistake on the comm tower capture order, those kind of threads all were weaved together to create a decisive advantage, which is why Lylian was able to force some really difficult fights for Swagmaster later on in the final two turns. Okay, so I think what we're going to do now is somebody suggested this, and this video has gone on for a very long time, so thank you for the 5 people that are still watching at this point. I'm very briefly going to go through the game again, just with full vision, so that we can see what was going on. But we're going to go really fast, so I don't want to drag this on much longer because this has already been very, very long. Okay. Okay, so it was the 3rd infantry that went up to here. It wasn't like the day 2. That's something that I would have been able to calculate out with like the move planner to figure that out, but it's counting is hard. So yeah, so Swagmaster kind of did what I was thinking Lylian should do if Lylian's going to do a tank build and just go the tank down there. Early anti-air. I kind of feel like that's a little early for the anti-air, but I don't hate it. The problem with this anti-air is now that, like, if you're setting up the trap here with the tank and then you build an anti-air, you can't keep fighting here. So I think that's, like, this needs to be another tank if you're going to go this way, or this needs to be a mech. Was there money for it? Yeah, like there's money. There's money. You can do tank, mech, infantry. He could have done it. It would have been sick. So we got our first recon, and we got some mechs down here. Okay. I'll live with it. So I like what Swagmaster is doing here and just basically having nothing on this side. But if you're going to have nothing on the side, you really need to win the fight on the other side. Like letting Lylian get this city here is not, it's not good. Oh, and he got a black boat. Okay. But yeah, I think mechs instead of tanks here made this all develop like really slowly. Like we kept wondering like where all the units were. Well, the units were mechs. That's why we didn't see anything. That's why everything happened so slowly. And that's why Swagmaster never gets the city back. Like forcing a fight here with all this stuff would be really great. But all the mechs are too slow. And you can't really push this way and also this way because you get your mechs spread out. Mechs, not good offensive units. Great defensive units, not good offensive units. Should have capped here this turn. You just let those infantry sit there. Had an opportunity to go do that a turn earlier. Ends up being pretty important because that's like it's an extra turn here, and then this would have been one turn faster, and then this gets denied, and then Swagmaster never gets it back. Yeah. All right. So made it to the end, but you can see like through the game, like the net worth was pretty even most of the way. It was really just the strategy that really made the difference. And Lylian certainly outplayed Swagmaster on the strategy front. Anyway, it's been almost 2 hours. If you're still here, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope you learned something. I learned something too. After all, I was going for this replay for the first time. I had never watched this replay before, and I'd never seen this map before. So I hope you got something out of it. I know I did. And be on the lookout for future videos. But until then, I will see you next time. It's been Elagatua, and have a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are. See you next time.